On the streets of Kathmandu today, a story is unfolding where Nepal's young generation, known as Generation Z, has taken to the streets to demand their rights. This movement is against corruption, government inefficiency, and the ban on social media. India, being Nepal's closest neighbor and cultural partner, is watching this movement with deep interest and concern. This story doesn't favor any side or belittle anyone. It's just a neutral look at the events unfolding in Nepal. It also includes India's viewpoint and the rumors of a conspiracy swirling around this movement. Let's dive into the heart of this movement and understand what's happening, why it's happening, and what impact it could have on India. This all started when the Nepalese government suddenly banned over 26 social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube. This decision was made without any warning. Because of this, important ways for millions of Nepalese people to talk to each other, learn, and do business were shut down. Some reports claimed that this step might have been taken because of pressure from China. This is a worry for India, because China's growing influence in Nepal could affect India's plans and interests in the area. The Nepalese government said that this ban was put on companies that didn't follow national rules, but young people saw it as an attack on their freedom to speak. However, the protesters weren't just out to get social media back. Their slogans and signs, which said, "Stop corruption and we want freedom," made it clear that their demands were much deeper. They want changes in issues like corruption, not having enough jobs, and favoritism in government hiring. India, which shares an open border and strong business ties with Nepal, is watching these issues closely. This is because problems in Nepal could directly affect Indian border areas and the businesses there. This morning in Kathmandu, thousands of people, especially young folks, gathered at important places like the Parliament building and New Baneshwar. Many protesters were in school uniforms, showing their youthful energy. Under the banners of groups like Hami Nepal, they tried to break through the barriers near the parliament. This movement wasn't just in Kathmandu. There were protests in Chitwan, Pokhara, and other cities too. Indian media called it the Generation Z revolution, which seems to be inspired by recent youth movements in neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. From India's point of view, this movement is important because Nepal is a key neighbor to India. Indian news channels like India Today and NDTV gave wide coverage to this movement, prominently showing the protesters' demands and scenes of violence. Indian experts believe that the rise in corruption and instability in Nepal could create problems for India, especially in border states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, where trade and travel with Nepal are regular. This is where things got really bad. The protests started out peaceful, but things quickly became tense. The Nepal police used tear gas, water cannons, rubber bullets, and in some places, even real bullets to control the crowd. Different reports say that between 14 and 19 people died in this violence, including some kids. Hundreds were hurt, and hospitals were super busy. A curfew was put in place in Kathmandu, and the army was brought in. Indian news said that a journalist covering the protest was also hurt in the violence. The protesters say the police used too much force, while the government says they did what was needed to keep things orderly. News of this violence in India has caused worry, because problems in Nepal could affect the India-Nepal border. Indian officials have increased security at the border in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, and the Sashastra Seema Bal (SSB) has sent more soldiers. According to Indian news, there are also reports of curfews and protests in border areas of Nepal like Pairahawa and Nepalgunj, which has led India to start using drone surveillance and face recognition technology. The protesters have clear demands. The ban on social media should be lifted right away. They want an investigation into corruption, and those responsible for the violence should be punished. Some protesters have also asked for the resignation of Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. Indian media reported that the Home Minister resigned for ethical reasons. However, the government has not officially confirmed this yet. From India's point of view, this unrest in Nepal is worrying because it could affect India's strategic interests. China's growing influence in Nepal and the questions raised about the social media ban are especially important for India. Indian foreign policy experts believe that democratic stability and freedom of speech in Nepal are good for India. This is because it helps keep things balanced in the region. International groups like Amnesty International have also spoken out against the police actions in Nepal, and some human rights groups in India have also criticized it. So, what's really going on? Amidst this movement, many conspiracy theories are swirling around on social media and online platforms. They claim that these events are part of a bigger, planned game. Some of these rumors seem to be based on facts, while others are just guesses. One main theory is that China is behind the social media ban. They say China wants to pressure the Nepal government to stop free speech and push Nepal towards communist rule. Supporters claim this could help China strengthen its control over Nepal and weaken Nepal's Hindu identity by encouraging Islamic migration. On the other hand, some theories blame the United States or the deep state, secret powers. They say these groups are sponsoring the movement to change the government in Nepal. These rumors connect to recent movements in Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Bangladesh. They call these events the New Arab Spring, saying they are all planned so that big powers can increase their influence in the region. Discussions on sites like Reddit point to patterns, where outside forces are stirring up unhappiness among young people. Some believe the CIA used local leaders and activists to spread ideas like voter fraud, just like they did in Pakistan and Indonesia. From India's point of view, these theories are worrying because they could make the region unstable, and India needs to be careful so its borders are not affected. However, these are just theories, and no solid proof has been found. This movement in Nepal isn't just a local issue. It's happening in a world where many governments are trying to control information and what people can say. They're trying to control information and expression. Young people in Nepal see social media as a way to share their voices and come together, and this ban has made their voices even louder. India, which has strong cultural and economic ties with Nepal, is seeing this movement as a warning. If things become unstable in Nepal, it could affect trade, people moving between countries, and border security between India and Nepal. Indian media has connected this movement to recent youth movements in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, where young people brought about big changes. What's happening on the streets of Nepal might just be the start of a long journey. The protesters are sticking to what they want, while the government is trying to make its position stronger. India is keeping a close eye on this situation, because stability in Nepal is important for India too. It's not clear yet if this movement will lead to peace and solutions or to more problems. But it's clear that the young people of Nepal won't stay quiet anymore, and India is watching these changes with great interest. Hail Nepal, hail India!